a todos, it's Lacey from Our Life in Guanajuato, Mexico. So I was up early this morning laying in bed with Iho and nursing and kind of flipping through my phone. And on Facebook, I'm a part of many groups, and one of those groups are other women that are in my situation as far as being married to my husband. And there was a topic that came up that we do have a lot of experience about and with, and that's kind of rare. So I just wanted to share in a video really quick about it. So just to give everybody a quick little backstory, because it's really important to what we're talking about. As many of you know, Pa and I have been together for almost 19 years now. And when we first met, Pa was an undocumented immigrant in the United States. He came to the United States as a very young man in search of a better life for himself. He was really struggling here in Mexico to find income and to have hopes for any kind of future for himself. And so he decided to leave and head to the United States to get that for himself. And after he was there for a couple of years, then him and I met. And so we're still together. Today, obviously, but we a lot of things that happened in that time. So we had gotten married. We applied for his status change. He doesn't have any criminal record or anything like that. So we just assumed that he was going to be granted a status change. He had only, I don't think, just the one entry at that time. He didn't have any documented re-entries or anything like that. He just went to the United States that once and stayed there, and then we got married. So his chances, from what I can tell from everybody else's stories, his chances were supposed to be really good to be able to be approved for that status change so that he could live in the United States legally. Um, well, it took thousands of dollars and a couple of years just to find out that he wasn't approved for his status change after all of that, coming back to Mexico, waiting for his interview here in Mexico. He was denied. Um, and then after that, Pa obviously went back to the United States because that's where I was, that's where the children were. And he came back to take care of us. He started working and providing like he's always done such a good job at doing. So then that was his second entry. But I just want everybody to be mindful and realize that the only reason why he had the second entry is because he left thinking that his interview, he was going to be approved for a status change. We thought that he was going to be going back to Minnesota with all of his proper documents and being legal to do that. Once you put someone in a situation where they can't do that, and you have now denied them that access, and you've denied the US citizen the ability to have a family with the person that she married for no legal reason to, with no legal reason to deny that, we're still going to continue to be a family. Um, and that's what's best. So Pa came back, and he was caught at the border and sent back to Mexico, and he wasn't going to give up. He was coming back. So then he tried again, and he came back. So then on his record, his immigration record, he does have multiple entries of trying because of that. And I want to make that really clear, because in a legal standpoint, that's really important, especially for all of the immigration stuff that we have going on. It's really important to share that. So, anywho, Pa is now back in the United States, and he's still trying to work and provide for us, and we're not sure what we're gonna do now. And that's basically how we lived for quite a few years, contemplating coming back to Mexico, talking to lawyers, seeing if there's anything we can do. We spent a lot of time and more money on that because it was really an unjust decision. It was wrong, but we found out that there's just no way that that can be changed. So then in that process, we had purchased a home. We were doing foster care to adopt, and we had a lot of other things going on in our life once we realized that there was no legal action that we could take to change PA's status anytime in the future. This is getting to be much longer than I expected, so I'm just going to shorten it. Immigration did come and pick up my husband, and then he was put into a hold. We contacted our lawyer, and they said that there was no chance that he was going to get anything and just let him be deported. But we fought it, and he was actually released on a 1-year stay. And that's what this video is about, is somebody asked the question, when you start when you're working on an ITIN number, and many of you know what that is, and then you switch to a social security number in the same year, how do you file your taxes and what's legal? When Pa got his 1-year stay, he did receive a social security number. He did receive his driver's license and everything. So he switched employers and started using his social security number in the middle of a year. But he still had income that was on his ITIN number for filing taxes. Many of you know an ITIN number is a number that undocumented immigrants can use to prove that they're in the United States, they're working, and they want to pay their taxes and file their taxes. And a lot of families choose to do that because there's hopes in the future for, if I do everything right and follow all the laws, when our interview comes or our chance for citizenship comes, we can prove that we've been moral citizens and have been doing everything right. And so for many years, Pa was doing that. He was filing with his ITIN number. Well, he was granted a social security number. So he worked a little bit on his ITIN number, and he worked a little bit on his new social security number. And then the year ended, and we needed to file taxes for that year. So what we did was we used his new social, because that was on his current W-2s and stuff, and filed our taxes together as a family. We added the ITIN number income when we filed our taxes, and it was accepted. We e-filed, everything was accepted, but then everything was put on hold for an investigation because obviously he was using a brand new social security number. And so I think that flagged the system to verify everything on our tax return or on our tax documents. So we were in an investigation for a long, long time. I'd say about a year, maybe more than that, where Pa had to prove that all of the dependents that he was using on his ITIN for many years were real and true dependents, which are our children, our legal children. So we just needed to supply birth certificates with his names on them and stuff like that. We also had to prove that those children were living with us for more than 6 months that year, which they were. They were with us full time. They're our children. So I can't remember what we sent for that. I think it was our homeschooling records. And maybe for the littler ones, I think it was doctor letters saying that they had been seeing the children with us, knowing that they were living with us or we were taking care of them, to prove that. And then the IRS came back. We sent in all of our proofs of everything. We even tried to prove that the ITIN income was Pa, but just using his ITIN that year. And the IRS came back to us and said that they agree that we have all the dependents and that they were living with us. And they agree to allow him to use the social security number and had that income, but they denied adding the ITIN income to our taxes for that year. So then that was all finally finalized. I think it took more than a year because we had actually filed again the next year using Pause Social again, when we filed married and whatnot. And we knew that a decision hadn't been made for the prior year, but we still filed our taxes for that year because we assumed that it would just all be approved because it's all accurate. But I just wanted to share our experience because that's something that a lot of immigrants are dealing with right now. A lot of immigrants use, like I said, an ITIN number to file taxes. Some people don't know that that exists, and it does. You can be an undocumented immigrant, still file taxes showing that you're working, because they know that they exist in the United States. And for everybody who's trying to do everything the right way, I would say, um, uses that, knowing that you're trying to change your status and you're trying to prove who you are and what your intentions are in the United States. So I just wanted to share our experience from switching in 1 year to using an ITIN number to using a social security number, and what the IRS did with the information that we gave. And that year I filed online, I e-filed ourselves, and I did our taxes through one of those software programs. So when I was doing it, I wasn't 100% sure how I could you know, tell them that he earned money on his ITIN number and earned money on his social security number. Excuse me, sorry. And so that's just how I did it. We filed using his social, and they denied all of the earnings on the ITIN number, even though we tried to prove that that was him. So I am not a tax preparer or professional. I'm not saying do what I did. Definitely talk to a tax preparer or a professional about it. Maybe there's a different way to go about it. Maybe you have to file separately with your ITIN earnings, and then separately with your social. I'm not sure, but I'm just letting you know how I did it that year. I filed with the social and tried to put just all of Pa's earnings under his social, and they did deny that. So I hope this video helped somebody. I wasn't prepared or expecting to do this, but I thought it was just really important, probably for just a couple hundred people, to share our experience on what that was like. But my biggest recommendation is, and what Pa and I have always done, is just be as honest as possible and do everything that you can to follow the rules, and you'll be blessed because of it. And I really feel that we're blessed, even though we didn't get what we were hoping for or what we expected, and it definitely hurts a little bit still. Um, we're still really, really surprised at how wonderful life is now and here, and how unexpected it was. Because as many of you know, for a long time I was like, no, I'm not ever gonna go and live in Mexico. Well, when you marry a Mexican man, that should be something that we should be open to and we should consider, because you just never know what God has planned, what life has planned, and we're here, and we're really, really happy. We really are. The biggest stressor, probably everybody is seeing me not looking so wonderful, wonderful on some of the videos, or I've gained a couple pounds, whatever the case may be. I know everybody's judging and maybe talking a little bit. It has been really, really stressful. And I'll tell you the most stressful thing that we've been dealing with for a while now is just construction in a home that you're living in. That has been the hardest part of all of this, honestly. That has been the hardest part of all of this, trying to keep the little ones safe in a construction area, trying to keep the home clean while we're doing construction in our home, trying to stay organized with a large family while you're doing construction in the home is really, really difficult. You get a system set up, and it's working really well. And then it's like, oh, we have to move all of this because we're doing something in there. And so then the whole house gets shifted again. Um, that's been really, really difficult, to be honest. Living in a home where you're actively doing construction. And unfortunately, I'm a stress eater. I hope that's not too information for some people. But I just wanted to be honest and share. That's really the only thing where I'm like, oh man, why did I do this? Um, I don't know, maybe we should have stayed in our rental while we were still building the house. No, because we weren't really happy cooped up in a house with no with little yard and in the city. We weren't too happy there. Um, we really enjoy being out here. It's just the construction that's been the biggest thing for me. So I hope you all enjoyed the video for whoever's watching it, and I hope it really helps somebody. I'm going to title this appropriately to hopefully shoot for those people who have that question. But thank you all so much for joining us on our channel, for supporting the family, for enjoying our videos, for being here with us on this journey. Um, we really, really appreciate it. And I just hope you all have a blessed day too. I'm going to get up and do some homeschooling while I've been up. But this is my bedroom. Do some homeschooling with the children. And yeah, I don't have a lot planned for today. So we'll catch you on the next one. Adios.